All right.
Episode 20.
Episode 20, man. Let's get after it. These episodes are flying, guys. So, real quick, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing. Nobody is subscribing. Please subscribe because we need the subscribers. You can tell them a little more about that.
Absolutely. Hey, the statistics are saying, okay, there's about 60% of y'all or more that are not subscribed who are watching our stuff. So please, come on, help us out over here. Hit that subscribe button.
So today we're here with Lauren and Jessica. So Lauren is a therapist and close friend of mine. We've been working together for a long time. So give us a little rundown on what you do first. And this is Jessica. She was a former athlete and she competed at the St. Pete. That was the last show. Today we're going to really focus on post-show rebound, the mental side of bodybuilding, and how much it's a battle. It's a battle. So Lauren, give us a little bit of a rundown on what you do.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to be here. I was just saying earlier before we started, I really can speak to this topic on so many different levels and perspectives. So I've been a clinician and a therapist for 13 years. I specialize in cognitive behavioral therapy, which is just, a fancy way of saying that your thoughts and your feelings and your actions are all interconnected, right? So there's that. My first job right out of graduate school was actually in a hospital working solely with female adolescents who have had eating disorders. So there's that perspective. I myself, when I was really young, had an eating disorder when I'm like 9, 10. So many years later, because I didn't really start competing in the bikini division until mid-20s, mid to late 20s. So I personally was in remission of a very long time, but I competed for almost 6 years. So I'm excited to, speak from that angle as well. Present day, I still have my therapy practice. I do business consulting. I work with this wonderful, wonderful team.
Yep. So not only is she a therapist, but she did compete at a high level. We were just talking about this, but she got almost one spot away from her pro card at the Caribbean Grand Prix, which we're going there this year. And then the reason why we're bringing Jessica on, not because she's amazing, but because she is having a problem, with the off season and getting in her head. She's losing the shoulder veins, guys. They're going away. So
the striations are gone, the bicep vein's gone. I'm losing my mind.
So how are you feeling right now? Being two months post show almost?
Yeah. I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with the changes. I was telling Lauren too, I've never really been on a true reverse diet because this is my first time doing a show with you. So it's a very different prep, in a good way. But yeah, so I kind of had to just get used to slowly adding back the calories in and just getting used to seeing the scale go up. And even though the scale is just a number, your body changes a little bit too. And then, you kind of just, when you're in prep, you're in this, this mode of you have to be super lean the entire time. And then even when you see normal people, you kind of judge them a little bit.
Yep.
And then even outside of prep, now I'm slowly getting used to seeing people that are normal.
Yep.
I'm oh, they don't look that bad. So.
Exactly. And it's usually we'll really talk about the day after the show, you're obviously going to enjoy the time with your family at the show, after the show. Day after the show, you go crazy. By Monday morning, if you don't switch that off and you go back to some kind of reverse plan like we did this time, you'll blow up too fast. And that's when people start getting to the head. But even besides that, how do you deal with the post-show blues? Dustin, give us a rundown on that. What are post-show blues?
I mean, essentially post-show blues is pretty much what she's saying. You're going through the process of tailoring down from being super lean. And that could be very hard for some people because, like you're saying, when you're going for a competition, you want to be as lean as possible. You want to reduce as much fat as you can and all that. And as you see it start to pack back on, you start to get in your head a little bit. That body dysmorphia tends to overtake your actual intelligence, right? Overtakes your emotions. And then at that point, you start to feel bad. You start to feel a little bit depressed. You don't want to go out. You don't want to do this. You don't want to interact with people. It definitely happens. Ways to combat it. I mean, I'm not too sure.
I think it's so much balance too, right? I think so many things just pop into my mind. But when you all know, when we're competing for a show, it is that laser focus, right? Yes. It is this intense, driven focus, the motivation. It's that end goal, that finish line is right there. And when you don't have a show anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
I
It's gone.
mean, it's just literal chaos in your mind. Like that is what it is. It's chaos. It's fear from so many different angles. You don't have that finish line anymore. So it's like, what the hell am I doing? Like, what am I doing, and what does this mean? And then again, you're talking about like normal. I mean, yeah, the way they look, and we can all talk about that. But like, also, it's just like, what is normal life, right? I mean, like, I haven't competed in a few years after having my baby, but I always would joke, especially the first couple years they competed, it was almost like you kind of, this is going to be like a horrible analogy, but you kind of go into like this cage, you know what I mean? And like, it's not a great mentality. Like as a seasoned competitor, I really learned you can go and have fun. It's not all about food. It's so much about other people. But in the beginning, especially your first couple shows, you literally just like, you kind of put yourself into a box to have that laser focus, and you get out. It's like you get out of the little cage or out of the box, and you're like, what is life? Like, what is normal? What does balance look like for, right?
Yeah,
I mean, did you experience that?
Yeah, definitely. So now I'm finally kind of coming out of the cage.
Yeah.
Is it because you feel like you have a clearer goal now? You know what I'm saying? Like when your goal is the competition, but once you get out of the competition, like you're saying, what is your goal? You have to redefine that. You have to redefine your why. Have you found that?
Well, now we're working on just kind of like building lean muscle,
Yeah.
and Matt and I discussed like there's a certain weight that I don't want to go over. So right now, like we're kind of like
course.
just trying to maintain where we're at. So I'm still being very mindful. Like I was telling Lauren, like, I do like to snack. So that's something
Yeah.
that's like the bad
You're
part.
normal. That's normal.
It's normal. Yeah. But I know I still make sure I'm hitting my protein goals and I'm doing my workouts.
For
and
sure.
just like really trying to push the weight now that we're in and off season so that I can build the muscle the right way.
Yeah.
and all
I think
that.
people just get obsessed with like being in that condition. And guys, even our off-season conditioning is better than all the people. Like people still look at you like you're crazy, right? I just feel like people get obsessed with that, like that condition look, and that I need to be
Yes.
stage lean all the fucking time. And that's not possible. It's just not possible. Like, and I do think there is a big difference between men and women. And this whole podcast, I really want to talk about the women's side of things, because the men, we kind of want to be as big as possible. Like, I don't mind losing, most people don't mind losing their abs, you know, but for women, not only that, but they're going through a lot of like hormone problems
Yeah.
right after the show, right?
Yeah.
Potentially, you know, especially some of these figure girls, physique girls are on Primo, MPP, whatever the heck
Absolutely. Yeah.
even some girls in the bikini division are taking Primo and all this stuff now. So coming out of that, if you add like, you know, not even talk about the diet, but just getting off the PEDs as well, that's going to have some kind of psychological thing wrong with you after coming off. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting hard into a prep, you might lose your period. You know what I mean? And then
you always lose your
getting
period.
it back.
Yeah.
Pretty
I mean,
much.
I've seen girls have it the entire time, but then I've also, who was it? I can't remember. They were saying that
Someone
the
got
day of
the
the
day
show.
off.
Oh no, yeah, Ashley got it
Yeah,
right.
she did
like,
get it.
like
Which actually surprises me because
before.
she didn't have it for like 4 months.
yeah, gone.
You know,
and
just
then
came
hello.
out,
Bad
but-
luck.
and then she got it like the day of the show, and like she didn't look bloated at all. Like most of the time, that stuff is she's pretty good, but
Yeah.
it's weird. Like, and that's the thing. Another people think that they don't understand in prep, you will lose your period at that, and it's not because of the
Absolutely.
drugs, right?
No.
It's not because of the
No.
drugs.
Yeah.
It's the amount of body fat you have
Yeah.
in your body. You hit that amount of body fat, and you're just the period's gone. Period. So
Yeah.
it's honestly a good thing because it means you're stage lean and you're ready for battle. But
Yeah.
when you were prepping, how often did you lose your period? I know you had some
Oh, I
problems with
mean,
that after.
every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for every season. I think maybe my first show I didn't, just because I didn't have the muscle mass. But after that, every single show,
Yeah.
for sure.
So then you're also trying to get back your period. You know,
Yeah.
you're gaining a lot of water retention right after the show, and the biggest thing I want to talk about this too is like a lot of people use prepping for like a crutch to stay lean. You know,
yeah,
true.
and they ruin their fucking off season.
Oh,
Yeah.
like it's especially with a lot of my competitors. Like she's thinking about December. I'm like, dude, no, like you have to rebound for 6 months.
about-
4 6. Yes,
Yeah.
Ashley. I'm like, what are we doing? No, she's done 3 shows this season.
Oh
and
my
she wants to go-
God.
yeah. She
Too
wants to go back
soon.
because they're 2 weeks after their show. They're like, oh well, okay, what about this show? Just to have motivation to keep going because off season is really, really, really hard. So
It is.
I guess give us a little take on that. Like, you know, one is using it as a crutch, just to stay lean. It doesn't make, and then you're ruining your off
Well,
season.
it's not realistic because I mean those last especially 8 weeks that you're trying to get us lean. I mean we're doing like fasted cardio, then we're
Whatever it
working out, then
takes,
we're doing
yeah.
cardio at the end of the day, like and it's crazy. And then your calories are naturally a little bit lower, so you're like almost burning as much as you're putting in. So and it's just to me to like even think about like those last like 2 months, it's like exhausting, and I don't know how anyone could like do that. Like,
Yeah.
Well, because they get just really heavy really quick, and then they're like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I don't have the discipline to stay on plan in the off season. I'm just period point. Like I'm fat. I want to
Yeah.
eat food. Fine, everyone's like that, right? But they're like, okay, I'm gonna do a prep because if I have men prep, then I can actually say discipline in my
for it.
pants.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So that's the
I'm
thing.
good here in this environment, and as long as I stay here, I can maintain what I really want.
Right.
And you'll see people continue on for a whole year, right? I've seen people do like a year and a half. They're like
yeah.
staying, competing.
Yes.
I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Just to stay lean.
Right.
Right.
And then every time that they go speak to the judges, it's always the same feedback. You're too
Exactly.
skinny.
Yeah. Too
You
skinny.
need
Gotta
muscle.
grow.
You need tissue.
Yeah.
Where's the, and you get skinnier and skinnier. It was good.
I feel like with everything, it's always like the mental and emotional side of it, right? And then like the like the strategic, right? Or the education. And I feel like I know you're so heavy, you're an incredible coach, I'm both, right? Like you show up mentally for every single athlete when people are having breakdowns, right? But when you, like I was saying before, when you step off the stage, it is literal chaos between your mind, between hormone changes, and having someone to be in your corner to guide you from the mental perspective. But then also, like, I remember for me, and I even went into bodybuilding, like I became a certified personal trainer. I knew a little bit, but like you don't know until you do it, right? But here's the thing, like I remember as a female, like losing my abs. And it was the first time in my life when like I loved my body, right? And I think so many females can resonate with that because you literally see yourself like, holy shit, I did that, and you don't want to lose that.
Yeah,
You hold on to it
right.
with everything you got. But I remember for me, when I was losing my abs, the one thing that really helped me, maybe it's like my psychological scientific brain, but it helped so many people, was having a coach who was like, this is literally what you need to do to put muscle on. Like, this is how it works, right?
Exactly.
Like, people think, oh no, I'm gonna go do glutes and I'm gonna go do this and I'm gonna just, eat a little bit more. And like, you need a coach to be saying, like, no, this is how many more calories you need. You need to be in this specific area, to actually get what you want. And then,
Exactly.
you can look at your stage. I remember I became obsessed of like building my glutes because I kept hearing it over
Yeah.
and over and over.
Yep.
So it's like I would just look at my stage pictures and be like, we're losing abs, we're gaining an ass. Like that's it. Every time I walked into the gym, that's the mentality,
Yeah, because that's what you need. And you kind of hit the nail on the head there. It's like you have to have somebody that just looks at it like objectively. Like Big Sur was on the podcast, what is it, 2 weeks ago? And he was saying this. He's like, my off-season competitors, if they want to stay shredded, I tell them I'm not the coach for you. Like this is what we need to do to put on weight, right? So even with her, like there's a balance and I'm trying to keep everyone happy. Like, but with her, I'm like, we're not moving. This is as low as this was going.
Yeah,
I promise you, this is as low as it's going, but I'll work with you a little bit, right? So we'll do more cardio and different supplements and stuff like that. But man, if you do not take the time in the off season, you will fucking never get better. Jacqueline is a big testament to that. Like, and she went through this a lot. That girl is so bad at her body and her appearance. Like she wants to be shredded all year round. She always wants a six pack. Always wants to look good. There was a big thing, I would say, January, December, when we started pushing calories and pushing the food up.
Yep.
She always looks good. First of all, this girl always looks fucking good.
Absolutely.
She's crazy, right? But even her in her head, crazy as it is, she was like, I'm fat, I'm looking fat. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I can't even pinch fucking fat on you.
So I'm from New York, right? And like I used to compete. I used to really compete typically when in the warmer months. And in the winter, like we would go to Bev's, we would go to Powerhouse, we'd have hoodies. We would be it's like fluff season is here, not in Florida.
No, it's year round. You know what I mean? Year round.
Year round. But yeah, no, but if we didn't do that, guys, we would have never got better. Like you guys seen the glute transformation we put up, right? If we did not do that in the off season, we would bring the same package, if not worse.
But what's the point?
What's the fucking
what
point?
is the point?
Exactly.
You always have to get better, and you have to have somebody, like you said, to objectively look at it and give you exactly what needs to happen, steer you in the right direction. Once you get to that body, like you were saying, that goddess that you've always imagined, it's hard to stray away from that.
Yeah.
But again, somebody with the understanding of what your body needs in terms of nutrients so that you can produce the muscle, you got to have something like that.
And it's also hard because I feel like most people, like, to get to that point, their prep was like so grueling. Like mine was like 7 months
Yeah.
long because we were like doing a little bit of like a recomp first and then a cut because I was like fixated on doing the St. Pete show. So mine was like 7 months. So then like to like work so hard for that long and then just to know like after the show, like just like, 2 months later, you're going to look like a little bit more different. It's like really mentally.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's hard.
Very
And
taxing.
I think,
Yeah.
I'm going to say this, I'm going to be honest. Like, most men want women that are thicker anyway. So I don't know why the fuck you women would be complaining. Like, honestly, I don't really want a girl who has abs. Like, I'm not necessarily attracted to that. Is it okay? Fine. But, like, I'd rather more cushion for the pushing a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
So, like for me, is like, am I attracted to the abs and all that? Absolutely, most definitely.
Yeah.
But it's the work that's behind it that is most attractive
Such
to
a good
me,
point. Such a
right?
good point.
So it's not necessarily the look. Absolutely, I see where you went. I see where you came from. Wow, that is amazing. You put in
Yeah.
fucking hard work to get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But then, in terms of like side by side, you want the
Yeah,
guys
you
want
get the thicker one. You know what I'm
I
saying?
know.
And I do think it's the same thing in reverse.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think a woman wants a guy who's shredded all year round. Like, they
Yeah.
want like a big bear they could just lay on, So I think that you women need to get that out of your head too, that men are going to look at you like, wow, she's fat, because that is not the thing.
Yeah.
Now, is there a fucking pushing the limits here? Okay, fine.
sure.
Like, you might be
Yeah.
fat, and then, we might, whatever. But there's a difference, I think that, but girls think they have to be shredded all year round.
Yeah.
And wow, that's so not
Well,
the
I
case.
think,
Yeah.
it's so funny because we're all our own worst critic, right? And even like you're saying, like, oh no, like you'll be good, like, you can put on a couple pounds. It's like we're in our head.
Yeah.
And when you look in the mirror, that's when that body dysmorphia really comes up because and the scale does play a role. Let's be honest, when you're in a prep, it's a measurement, like whether maybe you're doing pictures or you're doing measurements, you're doing like the scale is something that you are tracking, so your mind has then been trained through neural pathways to be like, cool, this means something, right? So when you step off, but like if you are up 2 pounds, 3 pounds, 5 pounds, and in bikini we have like that magical number that you don't want to go past, in an off season.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we could look in the mirror and be like, oh, I'm up 5 pounds. And it could look like we're 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that's really, really hard for a female. Like you were saying, oh, my shoulder striations went away. And I was
I
like,
miss them.
well, yeah, but like... And that's up to like us, right? Even if we
Right.
have like an amazing boyfriend, fiance, husband, whatever, being like, "Oh, babe, you're so beautiful," right? It's like our inner monologue that's saying like, "No, we actually look like a piece of shit," and that's what we really need to work on.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of internal stuff going on
Yes,
there,
yes.
Positive
Because the
self-talk.
outside world thinks you guys look awesome.
Well, no, I don't know though, because then that was my thing too. Is I'm like, well, I'm coming back into the gym, and I'm slowly putting this weight on, and all these people saw me absolutely shredded, like just
Yeah.
like, and I'm thinking, what are they thinking? Like, oh my god, she's losing it, like she's getting fat, like So I'm thinking in my head. And then like my waist trainer, I can't wear the extra small anymore. Like I can wear a small and like it fits my waist, but then it's like squeezing at my hips. And I'm like, I can't wear the same clothes anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no,
So,
I could absolutely
it's
attest to that. And I think I went through that last year when, I think we all do. When you go into the gym and you're like 3 weeks out and you're looking like a fucking Super
Oh,
Saiyan.
yeah.
You're like, oh my, everyone's looking up at
You
you like,
know you're
holy
the
shit.
Yes.
Everyone's looking at you. And then 6 months later, they're like, you just see that you think they're looking at you,
Right.
thinking this shit, but they're probably not. But like in my mind, like I'm like, man, people probably think I'm small right now. Like, and I'm kind of going through that now too,
so
where it's
funny.
like,
This is called
You know,
muscle dysmorphia.
it's muscle. Like, I can do some more. Yeah, exactly. Muscle dysmorphia. It's like I think I'm small because like I haven't been eating properly. I haven't really been too busy. I've been working too much. So for me, it's almost a complete opposite. Like I just feel like I'm like getting too small. Like I'm not. I don't know. I can't hold fat. But and I think that people in the gym are talking about me, but they ain't fucking talking about me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But how many times have we looked at somebody and like they looked so stage ready, and then we understand the sport, so we know. But I wonder what the outside world looks at us like.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. True.
Yeah.
When they see you freaking stage lean, and then like you're saying,
What happened to that guy?
Like, dude, what? You must be going through something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Absolutely not.
Something's going on
no,
in
no.
their
This is just life as a bodybuilder, right?
Yeah,
And that's
exactly.
something that you have to come to terms with. You
Exactly.
you have to accept both the on season and the off season. And
That is such a huge point.
Absolutely.
I remember probably like year 2 for me, I just owned like naturally I have larger hips. Like my legs are not tiny. They were never skinny and I had 2 separate wardrobes, right? Like, and it wasn't even that I was up that much in weight. It was just how my body
Like to
held
fill that.
fat, you know? And like my winter season would be like 1 wardrobe off season, and then prep was like a very different thing, you know? And like you have to just own that. And that's what I was saying earlier. It's like the more you compete, the more you like normalize this within your own mind.
For sure.
You know?
Especially that first run. Like the first run, you always get like, because exactly what you guys said, you're so like obsessed with the look, and you finally get that look for the first time in your life, and then it's fucking gone a week after the show, and you're like, dude, I just gained 10 pounds. Like Ashley's, wow, that girl, she's going through it and through it. But I also think like, you know, you can't be complaining and bitching about being fat when, you know, a coach gives you a rebound plan, and now you're doing the plan, but then you're also eating McDonald's and you're getting all these snacks because you're not prepping anymore.
Yeah.
So it's fucking difficult to stay on plan in the offseason, man.
It
and I think
is.
everyone always brings up Ashley Coatwasher, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Ashley K can do it. She can compete all year round. She looks awesome. Well, guess what? She's not fucking snacking. Like
Yeah.
she's not doing. She's following a strict plan all year round like a fucking professional. I think that's why you see a lot of professionals get so much better.
Yeah.
Because of the name, right? You have to act like a professional. Like
That's it.
he's transformed when he became a professional. Now he knows there's different. But I think amateurs aren't thinking like that, you know?
Totally.
So,
I even remember after my first couple of shows, and I had went from an all natural federation to the NPC, and I just like had it in my mind that like I was going to be in this sport for the long term. You know, it wasn't like, oh, this is cool. I mean, I don't remember what year it was like when I started, but it was like, oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this for an extended period of time. And you like, it's an identity shift, you know, it's an identity shift going from like, all right, what's next, to really like, no, I'm doing this for like the next couple of years, you know, whatever it takes, whenever I turn pro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, there was a time, you know, after I turned pro, and like we're saying, all the glitz and the glam doesn't come with a freaking pro card. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, I got a pro card. Oh, here's all these doors that opened up. No, you have to open these doors for yourself and, you know, continue to, you know, network and build these opportunities for yourself. But there was a time to where I was just like, had to come to the realization that I'm a fucking bodybuilder. This is what I do.
Yeah,
I
the
am a
identity
bodybuilder.
shift.
Okay, shit. All right. What do I have to do to align myself with being the best bodybuilder that I can be?
so true.
And then again, like I'm saying, it's understanding and then accepting the fact that you have an off season and you have an on season. And I have to come to terms with my off season being a little bit heavier than my on season, and that's okay. You know, there's certain things that I like to hold on to, like my donuts. Okay, you know, you see donuts every
I love
Sunday.
those stories every
Yeah, absolutely.
Saturday or Sunday.
Every Sunday, I got some people that are like in prep right now. They're like, I can't watch your stories, you know, with all the donuts. I'm like, then
Like,
stop
just
watching me on
swipe
Sundays.
right. Yeah,
because
that's so funny.
I got to hold on to that. But you know, it's like you have to find what you want to do, and then again align yourself with everything that is going to get you in that direction, and that comes with eating the way that I eat. Like I might have donuts, but at the same time, every single one of my meals leading up to those donuts are squared away and,
Right.
and what it needs to be.
It's calculated.
Absolutely.
You know?
And you know, finding that thing of normalcy, right? So what is normal? We'll go to a gas station, walk into the gas station, grab a fucking couple snacks, a drink, and all that type of shit. I don't do that anymore.
No, not
Like
at
I
all.
go to the gas station for gas.
Yeah, that's it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, that's meal 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
He gets in there and some comes out
hot
with
dogs.
fucking 2 hot dogs and some
God.
Cheetos and shit. And I'm like, oh man.
Must be nice.
But like you,
But that's a normal thing
Yeah,
for
I
people.
mean-
Bitch, am I professional?
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, you can't figure out what your normal is
Yeah.
until you make that identity shift.
Yeah.
You know, until you really are standing firm in what you want, what your values are, where you're going, right? It's all about the reverse engineer. It's like, I remember I was dating a lot of, I forget what year. And I remember like, as soon as I met someone, I was like, I'm a bodybuilder. This is what I do. When we go to the mall, like I'm gonna have my grilled chicken. I might have hard boiled eggs, and like this is who I am, you know. And it was like very much that perspective that was like just on the forefront all the time.
sure.
And that, I mean,
Yeah.
it's massively helpful.
Most definitely. If you're dating in that type of space, you have to make that stuff known because, you know, if you for some reason see a future with this one person, they better be in line
Yeah.
because if they're not, then they're just not going to fit.
Yeah.
And then
They
you're
don't
going to
get it, they
stray
don't
off.
get
Yeah,
it.
yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, your humps are right. And as far as like dating goes, like, God, it's got to be hard dating a bodybuilder. Oh my God. Can you imagine? Like, I mean, obviously I can imagine, but like when you're there, imagine going to the first game, like, yeah, I got my chicken, I can't eat today.
Yeah.
But that's how fucking disciplined you have to be.
You
Like,
have to.
you have to fucking be that way in the off season. And everyone thinks, especially at the amateur level, man, God, we have a lot of amateurs that follow this podcast. They think that it's only in prep, dude. This is I need to be serious for 12 weeks.
Oh, it's so
But like,
true.
here's the thing, right? Like, it's just like any other massive goal in life, right? Like, if you want to be a millionaire, you're not just going to do it for like 3 months of the year. You know, you're going to do it all the time,
Yeah.
and it's literally like surrounding yourself by that, constantly thinking about, right? Like, what business can I have? What can I do? How can I invest? And that's always on the forefront of your mind. If you kind of just, you know, move away from that, you're not going to get there. You're not going to be that person.
You'll never beat the person that does it year round. And I
Right.
think that's why you see a lot of people hitting the stage. And I coach a lot of people. We all know that, right? You see the same people hitting the stage and they're not getting better.
Yeah.
They're not getting better because they didn't take their fucking off season seriously. Like Natalia, I freaked out on her. I'm like, she's not eating. Like, she's not eating. And if she does eat, she's eating shit food. Like, but she's like, oh, well, it hit my macros. I said, when the fuck do we count macros on this team?
Right.
Okay. So like, she's like, oh, I had a bagel and a muffin and like banana. And like, I'm like, no, but you're not disciplined your off season. So you obviously don't want it because you're going up against girls in this world right now that are willing to do this shit year round. You're never going to be the person that does it year round. And I think that's why we made so much progress with him and so much progress with Jacqueline and the really serious ass people that understand that this is not a 3-month thing. This is a full year thing. And you have to commit to that if you want to be a pro.
Yeah.
And go past that and have dreams to push.
Yeah, for sure. 7 to 8 ounces of a protein source, and I'm eating 200 to 250 grams of a carb source. That's my
Yeah.
usual 5 meals.
Yep. And he was talking about donuts, right? And you see him posting every Sunday about donuts. This man's not out at donut shop every fucking day. The reason why he's so excited is because he stays on plan 7 days a week and he has a little reward at the end, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people are having reward every fucking meal and then they slow down their metabolism and now you're just not even able to eat. And that's a lot of force feeding. Like, and again, we'll talk on like there's different body types. I think you have a slower metabolism. I just know for a fact you do, right? You're not able to be like Jen or even like, you know, even Natalia, she still has a fast metabolism pretty fast, right? Or Dustin or me, or probably Lauren. I'm sure you have fast metabolism, right? So when we have a fast metabolism, it's a lot of fucking force feeding, dude. It's like,
not comfortable.
it's uncomfortable how much you have to fucking eat. Like 350 grams of rice per meal. Kevin's at 350 grams of rice per meal, trying to get that in all the time. So like you have to stay disciplined on that as well. It's not just dieting. It's also force feeding, man. And nobody wants to do that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary. And then it's funny because when we're in prep, we're like, we want more food, but
Yeah,
then we can have it. We're like, I don't want it.
It sucks. It's a whole nother
What was I
job.
thinking? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the biggest mistake people make is bogging down their system right after the show. So if you bog down your system after the show and you go crazy, your metabolism's going to crash. And that's why someone messaged me and I say who it is. She was like, oh, my hormones are messed up. Your hormones are not messed up. I fucking promise you. You're only a week post show. Your hormones are not messed up. But when you eat a million different types of foods and now your stomach's destroyed, you feel like absolute shit. It's not your fucking hormones. You should be a machine. Jen is a fucking machine right now. Like I give her a fucking free meal every single day and she is just burning through this food because she kept on playing, right? After the show, we did 3 low days, increased her metabolism and got the water loading back. The water's back because you're also, you know, super dehydrated after the show.
Yes,
You're rehydrating. Mix that with carbs, fats, and sugar.
Yeah, you feel like shit.
You're gonna feel like absolute turd.
It's not
Yeah,
good.
I mean, I was gonna ask you guys. I mean, from like the coaching perspective, kind of like from a personality trait. You know, what do you find? Like, you get to know people really well. You know, the coaching client dynamic, but like. Before I toss that over to you, you know, what I was always thinking is, I know for me, I was always very close with my coach and it was always like an openness, right? Like I was always curious and I was always like, hey, should I feel like this? You know, I remember my first show when I ate, it was on Saturday and Sunday was like, for me, it was always have a really fun breakfast, a meal aligned like lunch, and then have whatever you want for dinner and dessert. And then like that was Sunday and Monday was back on.
Yep.
But I remember the first time on a Monday, I literally was like, am I supposed to feel like shit? Like this sucks, you know? And like, but that also comes with like your own self-awareness too, because I think, you know, and I know, I mean, from a therapy angle, I've worked with competitors and they're like, I was too afraid. I didn't know. Should I ask? I'm like, fucking ask everything, you know? Like, that's what your coach is there for. And like, because if you don't, you're like, you get into then self-sabotage, right? Where it's like, I already feel like shit today, you know? Let me go have whatever tomorrow, even though my coach gave me a plan, right?
Yep.
I went off on my whole openness, curiosity, but like, what do you guys see as like personality, like traits and characteristics that you know someone from a prep is going to have like a successful off season?
I think it switches. It switches from client to client, and I think it switches from month to month. You know, like even Ashley, just for example, right? She was really shitty the first time. I mean, she went 0 to 1 million from the day she got off show all the way into like Monday, right? Yeah. Dude, the girl gained like so much weight where it ruined her entire. It took us 7 weeks to get her even remotely the same condition. Yeah. So I think it's case by case basis, but majority of the people, it's most of them fuck it up. Most of them fuck it up. I would say almost 100% of them fuck it up. It only takes that person that really wants to turn pro that does not mess it up. What do you got?
Absolutely. It's the mindset, right? Yeah. Where do they want to go? Where do they see themselves in the future? If they're considering competing again in the near future, they might stay on plan a lot. But, you know, I got a few of the guys that are like, man, I had a couple bites of cookies, so I'm going to eat this whole fucking box.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Oh, I already did it, so I might as well finish off the box.
And I'm like, thinking, right?
Right? So, you know, you have that now, and that's during prep. So you can only imagine what's going to happen as soon as they get off, right?
Exactly.
It's just, it's going to be that flushing the system with a bunch of sugar and carbs and all that type of shit, and it's just not going to be good for them in the long run. Now, I have a guy right now who is going through, he was eating everything in sight. He's currently on an off, but we're technically, 15 weeks out. He wants to do the Mel Chauncey. And right now he's experiencing a lot of bloat. And it's just like stuck, and he's like, "Dude, I feel pregnant. It's just like in there, like he's like, I swear,
what do you mean? Is it a muffin baby or is it a Taco baby? Which one?
He's like, I swear I'm back on plan, and I've been on plan for I'm like, okay, but how long were you off plan? Because I gave you this plan to start on that Monday after your competition. So when did we get back on plan? So you have to consider that, and then stay consistent over the time with the plan that we're currently on, and maybe you'll get away from all that. Bloatedness that you
I think what we've done on this team is try to express how important the rebound is. And I think a lot of coaches don't even care. They just want your money for that prep. And if you do bad, they don't give a shit. Like for me, it's all about the rebound. Like you can even see on the plan, I had a rebound plan out like a week in advance to try to prepare people. Right? Yeah. Try to be like, listen, this is what I want. And how I do it, kind of the same thing you did a little bit. I literally put on their plan, guys, Saturday, you can have a meal. Sunday, have a breakfast. I think I even said have a dinner, right? I think for her plan. Have a dinner. Monday, mandatory. Mandatory if you want to do this shit. Like, and some people do, and some people, we can only give them, we can only lead a horse to water, can't make them drink. But we do our best to express it. If you do have a bad off, another thing I'm going to keep talking to because a lot of stuff comes to mind. So I think also on this team, they've seen a lot of people experience it now, people coming up, they've seen an experience. Oh, this athlete did this. Why does she look shit at this next show she did? Well, that's why. So they're understanding why people are looking bad, and I think they've realized that they can't do that shit. If they keep competing. So I think having a team as well is huge. Absolutely. Like being able to see and talk to people about, hey, what were your experiences with this? Why did you look great at this show, and then 12 weeks later you look like shit? Well, okay, I took I did this, and this, and then I wanted to do a show to stay lean. So it's a mess, man. Off season is hard.
Like I talk to people, at the competition, and I'm like, look, make sure that you have your reverse diet from your coach if they're not coached by me or like you or Raven or whatever. I send my reverse diets out to the guys like that week prior, so they're aware of it. And then I always reinstill that this is the time where your body is going to be the most responsive. So you utilize it correctly. And if you don't, you're going to be worse off than when you start. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to happen quick. It'll creep up on you. You'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm good. Let me shove some more stuff in my mouth. And then
you're so sensitive. From eating so clean that once you put the artificial stuff, it's like it feels like a rock. And you're just like,
having a team is so important. It's that, like I said, education piece and then that's the cool thing too. You're not only getting education from your coach, you're getting it from your teammates and like everyone around you from all aspects.
I mean, I hear all the time people on the team reaching out to this person because they're maybe not they're scared. People know I'm busy. They respect it. I have the best team, but they'll reach out to be like, hey, you're experiencing this too? Yeah, I'm fat too. Like we're fine. We're going through this shit together, bitch. What's going on? You ain't alone. So I think it's definitely good to have a team, man. And off season, again, it's just so fucking difficult.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It really just, it determines on what's going to make a good athlete. Like you said, the off season is what is going to make or break you.
I think too, you know, what just came to my mind is like how well you do in a show, how well you do
Yes.
or you
Wow.
don't
Yes.
do,
It's
true.
right?
Exactly. That
And
could-
how
yeah.
much that, I mean, sometimes it can put a fuel. I remember like one of my earlier shows, like I didn't do as well. I was like at the gym that night, Saturday night of the show,
Yeah.
like a
I
fucking
wanna get
maniac,
better.
right? Like 3:00 in the morning, I was at a 24-hour fitness, like I'm gonna do better next time, you know? But like sometimes it can put that fuel underneath your ass, and sometimes it can go the complete opposite direction. It can like really try to mentally ruin you. And that's when a lot of the food behavior is like disoriented eating, binge eating, chewing and spitting. I mean, like a lot of these
Throwing
things
up.
really,
Like we have people on the team doing that shit too. They're eating and
Yeah.
throwing up. So
Yeah.
again, you hit the nail on the head again. You know, again, another person I want to talk about is Ashley. I keep bringing up Ashley because I try to get her on this podcast,
I was
guys.
thinking of an
Oh, that'd be
earlier
great.
competitor.
I tried to get on this
way
podcast.
back
I
in the
think
day.
something happened. We weren't able to.
Yeah.
But she did. It didn't go. The first show did not go the way she wanted. So exactly what you said, right? Because she placed not as good as she wanted, she was like, "Fuck this sport. Fuck this. I'm eating whatever the fuck I want." Right? And then of course, after you get some food in you, right? Then you realize, okay, I'm not bad. I just got to need a little work, right?
Right.
And then they get back to us, and then you see the people who dominate. They're like, "Wow, this is awesome. I dominated. Yeah, I'm going to
Right.
I'm getting my pro card." It's like you need to understand that you're going to lose a lot. You know, I've lost a lot in my life.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
lost a lot in business, and you know, finally humbly saying I'm becoming successful finally, right?
Right,
So you have to
right.
keep pushing and pushing and pushing. You're gonna fail 100 times.
100 times.
And if God forbid if I failed, right? I started my business, right? Like, I've done a lot of shit. If I would have just said fuck this, I give up, I'm gonna go be a homeless, like that. There's people that are like that. Like
For
they lose
sure.
once and they fucking do it, but
Yeah.
I lost 1,000 times, and every time I'm like, "You okay? No, I'm back. I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again."
What
And
I
that
learned.
goes exactly into bodybuilding too. So
Yeah, most definitely. Very, very hard dynamic to just wrap your head around, you know, especially for the first timers.
Yeah.
The first timers go into it and they don't have a what's next.
Yeah.
And so then that spirals them out and then they, you know, eat whatever the heck they can. So
And
for
then
you,
there's like guilt and
Yeah,
shame, like you were talking
absolutely.
about some people on the team like throwing up, and
Yeah.
I mean, and then it's like, how am I gonna explain this to my coach? You
Yeah.
know, do I feel comfortable? Like it's like you don't even want to admit that really, like to yourself, that you're doing those behaviors, you know, and then
Yeah.
let alone admit it to someone else, and it takes time, you know.
Yeah, 100%. And like, obviously, I'm really close with all my clients, so everyone knows they can come to me with anything. And I mean, I've been approached with a lot of stuff. And I guess the whole throwing up thing, that's probably one of the worst ones I've done. But I don't blame this person at all because it's just hard. You know, like the sport is very hard. You don't want to get fat. You want to say, not only I want to win for my team. I want to win for my coach. I want to win for myself. So if they have a lot of pressure on them, which I hate that, and I don't feel like that. But on the team, we do. Like, we do a lot of winning. So and the thing is, on our team, if you don't get first, you're last. I mean, let's be honest. Like, that's how my team views the sport.
Right.
I don't know. You came up in it, right? If you're not first, you're last. That's kind of what our motto is, right? Pretty much. I hate it, but so I feel like if you don't get that, like, honestly, you know, even you did worse than Ashley, but you didn't go crazy off the bender. You know,
No,
you kept on playing pretty good.
Yeah, I did. It was
you're
very
pretty
like
solid.
I had a friend in town like that first week after, and I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, but I'm gonna have to be lame, and like I have to pack my meals. And she's like, well, what if I made this and what if I made that? I'm like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you're cooking with. You could be using oils. Like, I was just very like,
Yeah.
I
OCD
can't.
about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even you had a lot of mental problems. Like, he was about to
did.
ask you a question.
Yeah.
What about to ask?
I was like, oh, well, like, how are you feeling now? Like, what's your end goal? What are you looking forward to? What is keeping you moving?
I'm feeling a lot better.
Well,
The
good.
dysmorphia isn't as bad as it was before. I'm just getting used to like having like curves again. And I'm just realizing that like the weight I am now versus like this number that I was like last year, it does look different. So you know what I mean? Like I look better now than it then. So I'm just working on trying to build more muscle so that when it is time to like cut again, I can just look a little bit better and leaner and just really focus on pushing the weight really hard because I realize now how important that is. And I still really tried to work out hard before, but now I'm like, okay, I have to like really, really try my best without like hurting myself, but just like really trying to like break down those fibers.
So you feel like you've upped the intensity with your
I
workouts?
do. I really do feel that way. Yeah.
Good.
Well, what do you think is like the fuel source to get the energy to push in the gym?
Yeah.
Oh, because I'm not
think it
sure
is?
when I'll do another show, but I really want to do better than I did.
No, I mean like fuel. Like I was saying,
What do you
food.
actually need?
Like you need food to be able to get good workouts and be
Oh,
able to
well,
train
yes,
hard.
of
You know what I'm
course. I thought you
saying?
were talking about mental fuel.
No.
No, the food definitely helps because before, when we were cutting, I couldn't push as hard. But now that I'm eating more and getting more, I can definitely.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I think that's another whole topic too, is like people don't, after the show, they don't train hard. And that is like that you have like 2 month window and put on a lot of fucking muscle. Your body's absorbing everything. You're kind of trying to grow. So like even, it doesn't matter what you're taking, natural cutters or not. When you're starving your body, it's gonna fucking starve. And then hopefully you're on some PDs to hold that muscle right into the show. But after the show, it's a sponge. So you have like a 2 to 3 month window of a good rebound. And that's where you can make tremendous progress on your physique. Like tremendous. Like Jacqueline, again, last year, like got done in, I want to say it was October, and like the next 2 months she just blew up in like the best way possible. So people need to understand too, like it's a rebound, but if you want to progress in the sport, you have to make sure you stay ahead. But what is your advice to people that go through this? Like obviously coming from a therapist's perspective, like what should people do? What should be like an outlet for them?
Yeah. Well, there's definitely a few. I mean, Dustin, you nailed it in redefining your why. That is number one. I think having support is number one, right? So like sticking with your coach and getting that education, redefining what is next and really knowing how you're going to get there from all angles. And then from there, it would be, what are the small things? Because even when you redefine your why and you see like that new finish line, what are your new kind of benchmarks? What are the new things that can like excite you, light you up again? Like a good reframe is your strength coming back, right? And like, okay, cool, I can shoulder press more, right? I can do whatever more. I think you have to kind of give yourself those little wins in order to keep going. From the mental health and even like a body dysmorphia, it's definitely talk again, go to like your coach, go to your support system. But also from like a female perspective, it's like really find the new things that in your body, within your body. Even if you look in the mirror and you're like, okay, I don't like that my shoulder veins are disappearing, it's like, okay, well, like my glutes, my ass looks better, right? And like go. And if you can, not that I'm telling people to spend all this money, but like go invest in things that allow you to make you feel good, because that is your new normal.
Yep, 100%. Like what, like new clothing and new, like, just stuff like
go
that?
get some really cute jeans. Go get like whatever it is, skirts, dresses, that like, again, it's a shift of identity, right? So like what is going to help move into that new identity? And I always say you need to be her in order for you to become her. So like, what does that really mean? It means you need to embody that. You need to look like her. You need to feel like her. You need to be surrounded by people that are like, cool, keep going. That's what you ultimately want to be. Go do that.
It's a total shift of like mindset, And guys, I don't want people thinking that they can't stay in shape. Like we're not talking about get fat here. We're talking about be in good shape like she is right now. Like she looks awesome. She doesn't need to have veins everywhere. And the only way to do that, man, is to just to stay on plan and exactly what she said. Celebrate those little victories, right? Yeah. Oh wow! Instead of pressing 15s in prep, I'm pressing fucking 25. So enjoy the off season and like don't put so much pressure on yourself. And I try to preach to some athletes as much as I can. Like people, they almost get too like, it's a good thing, but I don't want people to like obsess over the off season. Like guys, if you want to go out with the family and have like chicken and fucking rice, dude, by all means go have fucking dinner. You know what I'm saying? Like this is the off season. This is when I want you to enjoy your life. If you don't enjoy the process, there's nothing you can do. Like people text me, oh coach, I put a little bit of this sauce on this. Like, what are we texting Matt for? Like
it's the off season, bro.
It's off season, bro. Enjoy the process, right? Enjoy the progress that you're making and the training that's what we need. We need to focus on the training. Focus a lot less on the diet. It's the fucking training that needs to be there. Yeah. And I think again, if you train really hard, you're gonna burn calories. You're gonna be leaner. You're gonna stay on your fucking cardio.
Another thing in the off season, I mean, when you're in prep, let's be honest, you are so, again, you're focused and you're exhausted like towards the end, I think in the off season, again, with the identity shift, it's like you get to deepen and really step more into like who you are and where you want to go, and getting into whether it's like personal development, right? To quote unquote, fix your mindset, like to become more self-aware, to have that resilient mindset, to understand your thoughts, because that's only going to make you a better athlete, right? To do that. And also like be entrenched in the sport, listening to podcasts, right? Like listening to podcasts about the sport and what it takes and all these different things. And the off season is you miss it. You miss being so in it, and all of these other things kind of bring you back to that world.
Absolutely.
100%.
So like the podcast things you're saying, like be entrenched in what you are trying to do. Like when we are in prep, we got fucking bodybuilding shit on all fucking day, 24/7. I'm just sitting here watching this, right? But it just keeps me in line. It keeps me with that goal, right? I can see the finish line. But then also right now when I'm off season, I still carry on watching all these different podcasts or YouTube.
There's some House of
everything.
Dragons, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
We
We
could
could
sprinkle
in some
Dragons.
of these series in there for sure, you know? But I mean, absolutely. I'm still watching all the bodybuilding stuff. And, and like you're saying, it keeps me there. It keeps me wanting to be there. It keeps me in line. All right, cool. Fuck, I'm watching these guys. I still got to eat my food.
Yeah.
And I got to eat my food right. I
Right.
can't just go out here and splurge. I did have a pizza yesterday.
Little fucker.
That was first time I had a pizza in a long time. But, you know, hey.
But he's on plan most of the time. And everyone always talks about Ashley Cole Washer. I'm going to keep bringing her up because if you look at her first place, like the Arnold, I want to say she won a Pro Card of the Arnold Classic, right? She got like 12th place the first fucking time. And she, instead of having that mindset, like you said, to get worse, she was like, no, I'm going to get better. I'm going to leave this thing and I'm going to get better and I'm going to grow and I'm going to come back. And then I think she won a Pro Card that year and the rest is history, right? But if she wouldn't have, your losses honestly define you. Like they really fucking define you.
100%.
Yeah.
Like this year, you know, me and Jen, we got second at her first show, right? Arguably, we could always say we could have won, right? Arguably, it's when it's that close, whatever. But when she got off stage, she threw her fucking medal. She's like, oh, fuck this. I'm done with the sport. Literally, I'm done. Not even 5 hours later, you know, she's like, after she gets some food in her, she's like, okay, I'm ready to go. So the losses define the champion. You know, that's what defines the champion. The wins are going to fucking come as long as you can persevere when those losses come. So what's your mindset to people who go to a show? Like, what's your advice to them? They go to the show, they completely bomb it, they look like shit. And, you know, they go off. We had a girl not even come back to the night show because she thought she did bad. She just placed bad. She looked amazing.
Right.
Like, what's your advice to these people to stay ahead and to
Yeah.
have that winning mentality?
I would say hire me. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I would
First,
say
a little
work-
plug in there, guys. She is looking for clients.
I would say truly. I mean, again, it goes back to having a resilient mindset, understanding who you are and that your thoughts are going to fuel every single action and reaction. So like look at it from a like dumbed down perspective. If your actions are self-sabotaging, right? If you're every time I fail, then I'm just going to throw in the towel. What do you want to, I would say to that person, like, do you want to stay like that? Do you really want to stay like that? Like, what do you want to do in all? Because if it's happening in one aspect of your life, it's happening in all of them, you know? So really take a good hard look at your life and say, well, do you want to stay like that? Or is this something that you really want to do? And if it is, then you need to attack your mindset. You know, you need to understand the stories, the beliefs, the things that are running, that are literally ruminating, going on repeat within your mind. And that's what needs to be changed in order to come back, in order to change, in order to be an athlete, in order to have a successful life.
Yeah, I mean the one person I'm talking about, she literally messaged me like the next day and was like, I regret not going. You know, like you will have regrets, but if you just keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
And guys, at the end of the day, like, is this sport for everyone? No. Like you kind of got to understand, like if you do a prep and you cheat it every day and it was completely miserable, you get on stage and it was completely miserable, then fine, the prep's not for you. But in my, personal experience, I think our experience, anyone who's done a show with me, they're always going to want to go again. Yep. I swear. I don't know if I had a single client, even the girl now, like she came to me 6 months ago. I started coaching her again. So it's like everyone's going to, the loss is going to define you in those moments of like failure.
Yeah.
You got to realize, man, like you're going to fail a lot. And the thing is, a lot of these girls too just get started. And then 3 months later, they're on a fucking stage and they think they should be winning the whole fucking show.
Right.
Can it happen?
Right.
It can.
It happened with Alice. We did it with Alice, but that's a fucking 1 in a million, dude.
Yes,
that was 1 in a million. And, it's hard.
Right. But I think you just nailed it. That's like the number one determining factor where you get to say to yourself, do I want to change this? Do I want to move forward? And what was the thing that you just said in terms of, I just lost my thought. What was
I don't know.
it?
I say a lot of stuff. I just get on rants and stuff.
What? Yeah, I lost what I was gonna say.
Like you lose, like from losing, coming back.
Losing mentality. That was it. So it always comes back. what I was saying is I think that's the biggest shift within anyone in order to be successful in anything you do in life is truly, you know, if someone got off stage and they were regretful, they didn't want to go back, I would literally say to them, what did you learn? If you learned one thing throughout this experience, right, throughout this process, you won. Like you literally are not the same person anymore, right? And like in anything, in business, in life, in relationships, through shitty relationships, through bodybuilding, it's like if you learned something that changed you, that evolved you as a human and as a being, right? And that in and of itself is a win. You just then need to decide how do you take that and how do you continue to learn,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Phil Heath, I want to say it's 2009. Phil Heath, 2009. Quote me wrong. I think 2009, where he went and he placed. I think it was 9. No, it was 9. Yeah, it was 9, 10, 11, 2000, whatever. He went to Olympia, got 4th. He literally gets off stage. He's like, this loss is gonna determine who I am as a champion, right? Next year, I want to say he won, or he got second to. No, next year he got second to,
Jay.
which was Jay Cutler in 2010. The year after that, he won. If I'm not mistaken. So his losses determined who he is. We would not have had the greatest Olympia of all time if his mindset, in my opinion, Ronnie, sorry. Sorry, but of the greatest of all time, if he did not have that mindset, right? He lost, he's like, fuck this, I'm coming back and I'm getting it again. So again, when you guys just get started out, and I think this podcast a lot is mainly about people who are just getting started, don't really understand. We have a lot of professionals that watch this as well, but it's a whole different topic. But, guys, it's not going to come easy every time, Look at the Ashley Case situation. Like Ashley on our team could be phenomenal next year. Like again, look how many times Raven lost. How many times have Raven lost before she finally fucking figured it out and we finally got her in there and won the fucking overall? God, she probably lost at least 6 shows. Ashley lost 1 show and almost throws in the towel. Like, hey, it's not a pick on Ashley Day because I love her, but I'm saying I use it because she's having the most struggle right now in the off season. Staying on plan. Having crazy body dysmorphia. The girl looks fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Always looks awesome. Even on
I would
stage.
kill to have her freaking her shoulders. Like I'm obsessed with shoulders, but like her arms always. Like I'm just like, this looks so
Yeah.
good. Like
It's tough.
and like right now, I know she's having a hard time, but like because her and I live like far away, but the way we like communicate is through Snapchat videos. So every time she says me something, I'm like, what are you complaining about, dude? You look so good. Like just you look.
Well,
good.
that's like you too.
Yeah.
You send me the check-in video. She's
Yeah.
talking to me. She's like, I'm fat. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I could not even barely pinch fat on your body. Like, it's crazy, man. And I don't know how to. Everyone's different, man. Everyone's gonna have a different mentality and a different view of how they look at themselves. And it's up to you to stay on plan. Like, and if you want to be Ashley fucking Coldwasser, you could do it.
Yeah.
Like, you could fucking do it. Like, you don't have to gain that much fat if you want to. But then don't bitch at me when you're snacking the whole damn time and cheating every fucking day. Like, these people are disciplined, man. Like, he has a 6-pack all year round. I have a 6-pack all year round, even with gas station food. Okay, I still got a 6-pack, but I'm one of a kind. Don't do what I do. It's funny. I posted the chicken cutlets and brownie. I'm not lying. Like that was my meal because I'm thinking fast. I'm like, I got some chicken cutlet, fried chicken, and I got my brownie, got my carbs. So, and I still got a 6-pack. But not everyone could do that, and I know that. But it's like I don't know, man.
I mean, competition as a whole, or bodybuilding as a whole, is an amazing challenge, right? We always tell people it's the hardest thing that you're ever going to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's true.
Yeah.
Because it very much is. You're going to experience physical, emotional, spiritual,
Yeah.
freaking,
Absolutely.
just there's going to be a lot of turmoil involved. But like you're saying, you're going to learn a lot about yourself. And if you want to be Ashley Coldwasser, you have to become Ashley Coldwasser.
Yes.
Right? So what does me being Ashley Coldwasser look like? What do I have to do in order to equal Ashley Coldwasser? And it's just wrangling that all that in together. Okay, I have to have that winning mentality. Fuck if I cheated on this day, I can't be like, fuck, I took 1 bite, I should eat the whole box. No, I took 1 bite, fuck, I'm chewing it. I'm coming to the realization that I shouldn't be chewing this. Fucking spit it out. Fuck. Let me move forward. Cool, that was a loss right there, but I'm good. I spit it out. It's nothing. Let's move forward.
Yeah.
Instead of swallowing and then having that regret and then, I'm going to eat the rest of the cookies.
Yeah.
Like, you have to, it's all encompassing. You're going to have a lot of talks with Jesus, talks with God, man, this shit is so hard. All I want to do is have a freaking meal right now. I want a little bit of normalcy. But then, what does your normal look like? Right? We're bodybuilders now. Our normal looks a lot different than a lot of other people's normals. So fully encompassing what it means to be a bodybuilder. It is a very tough challenge in order to take up, but I mean, it's worth it in the end. You learn a lot about yourself. You're going to grow in terms of who you are as a person, you know, and you can get better. You need to get better every day. How do I challenge myself to get better? That's a big question that I still have problems with, still asking myself every day. What can I do? Fuck, I gotta do this. Man, shit. Somebody texted me. Matt texted me a long time. Fuck, I gotta get back to him.
3 days later, guys, you know, finally figures it out. 3 days later.
I'm like, shit, dude. But yeah, I got a lot of shit going on in my mind, but as does everybody. But again, it's like, how do we get better?
Yeah.
I think the good thing in prep, which we could talk a little bit about, is like how fucking focused you become on all the little relationships. Oh
Every
my God.
aspect of your life.
yeah.
Yeah.
God, relationships, business. Like
Absolutely.
I want to say I was probably more productive when I was prepping for my show.
100%. Feel that same way.
Check-ins,
Same
they'd
way.
be done at 10 o'clock. Dude, 10 o'clock in the morning. Bitch, I'm up at 4. I did cardio at 1. You know, I'm up. I'm ready. So I'm already doing my
Yeah.
check-ins as they're coming in. I'm doing
Yeah.
them. So I feel like there is a lot of pluses in prep.
Yes.
And even like I've experienced this too. Like when I got done with my show, I didn't have those same. I know I'm a fucking fat bear, dude. Now I'm sleeping until fucking 10 o'clock. Dude, now I'm not getting up at 4 no more. Now my check-ins ain't getting out till 5 o'clock. You know, so it's like I feel like there are some pluses, and I wish that I could even kind of keep that same mentality. I just knew I was done. It's a little bit different. Then we could talk about that a little bit too. But like I just knew for sure I was done. But I think prep really helps you hyper focus on that.
100%.
Everything.
100%. I work with a lot of people in what I call time mastery, which is really just time management and personal development together. But I would always say, like, when you're in prep, like you have to be that. You have to be amazing with your time management.
Yes,
so if you weren't before, you learn how to do it in prep, right? So, but when you have to be that diligent on like, I know my workouts are going to take me 2 hours. I know my cardio is going to take me this amount of time. I know my meals are going to be in the car on this time, whatever.
You're thinking, yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah,
but when you're
absolutely.
that calculated and strategic, it's going to translate and carry over to every other. Because if the other ones don't, then you fuck up your prep.
Yep,
exactly.
And you're not going to do that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I got to do this before this meal. And then after this meal, I'm going to schedule out these 3 things.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a walk around the house. I'm going to take
Yeah.
the kids. I'm going to cook
Yeah.
Baron's breakfast at
Yep.
this time every day. And it's crazy. There's a lot of pluses, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pluses.
Right.
Yeah.
I personally, I'm that athlete. I admit it for sure. That I go 0 to 100 and then 100 to fucking 0. That's just what I do, and I hate it because I know that I could probably be a lot better. Like, but again, like I think I'm just not in that mind anymore as I was when I was a kid. You know, like maybe I'll experience that again someday. But like when I was in prep, it was literally 0 from the moment I wanted to do it,
100%.
and then I'm completely down when I'm not. But I don't have a metabolism where it's like I don't gain a bunch of fat back. So I don't know how my mindset would be because I've already told myself I'll never lose my 6-pack. I'll fucking starve. I will always have some kind of 6-pack my entire life. It doesn't even matter. If break my legs, I'm having my 6-pack. I promise. I'll fucking not eat.
What were you, 3 days later, you almost were up like 40 pounds? or
Oh,
some
40
shit?
pounds, yeah.
Oh my
I go 40
God.
fucking pounds. Guys, I ain't
3
fucking playing.
days?
I go,
something like that. Yeah.
Holy.
yeah, I was about so I think I got off stage. I think when we weighed in, we were like 191. No, maybe 187. I don't know, pretty low. 187, 191. I was like almost 230. Like not even
quick.
not even 4 days, 5 days later. I was like checking the scale every day. So me, I'm a little bit different, you know. Like, but again, I was still good. We look good. Like I still have a 6-pack. He still has a 6-pack. So we have that metabolism to be able to do that. But not everyone could do that, man. And I couldn't imagine being in that position with a really slow metabolism. But those are the people who have to work 10 times harder. You know,
100%.
10 times harder. Sebastian,
100%.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
gotta work harder than me.
But you always have to have something to look forward to. So in terms of you, right? Intensity in the gym, you said it was spiked up.
Yeah.
Which day, in terms of body part, do you look forward to the most? Because you said shoulders.
I
It's
love
that's
shoulders.
that's just your thing.
I
You
do.
do.
Yeah, like I almost want to, like right now we just have shoulders like one day, but I was like, dang, maybe I could just throw 2 more. Like just throw another day.
He's just throwing out over there. Like,
We're doing a split tonight.
3 days of shoulders real quick.
Because
What,
when we were in prep, I think shoulders were like 3 days a week during that time.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty
So-
much. Well, you did need a lot of shoulder growth.
I
though. You
did,
still
yeah.
kind of do, but
Yeah.
she's
so what was the feedback and what is she working on now?
So now it's, you know, again, it's for one, she's natural. You know, she's natural. So for her, it's keeping the muscle while getting in that condition. But just looking at her body, bigger glutes, you know, working on the posing. I think the last minute posing really helped with us, but I don't think she practiced it enough. So when we got to stage, it didn't really translate. She has like ribs that pop out and her flexing down a little bit to control
Puts it
that.
away.
Same thing, Jacqueline. I taught Jacqueline. Anyway, so flexing down, kind of control that. bigger shoulders, but you almost have all the muscle. It's just small things at this point. Posing is going to transform. Like if you could just master that posing, like that's what it is. But you know, you can only do so much for your structure, and I think structurally, we're not going to see it really start blossoming until we build those shoulders. Because I feel like you're also a little bit narrow up top, so you have to build those shoulders in order for that waist to look
That
that
was me
small.
for so long.
You have to, yeah.
I was obsessed with shoulders too. Like literally for that reason though. I need because I'm just tiny, like from here to here and then down below. Like,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah.
I needed it, you know.
Yeah.
So are there any exercises right now in terms of full body that you are finding better connection with than you did before?
Yeah, hip thrusts are getting a lot stronger,
There you go.
which I love those. I did them today.
Let's go.
The kickbacks. So there was a video you posted about standing on the plate weights.
Yep.
So I'm like, why
Yes,
wasn't I doing
yes.
this before?
Yep.
So now I'm stacking 225 plates so that I'm just up a little higher. So like
Yep, yep,
that's
yep.
a really good connection there. A love hate for me is the hyperextensions where you're
glute
like,
squeezes?
oh
Yeah.
my god, I love hate
Hey,
those.
it's
But I do
curved
them-
back.
yeah.
Please, really round that
Right.
back.
Dustin,
Push your hips
you
through.
have the love hate too, right?
With what?
With the extensions.
Not
love
really.
love.
With hyperextensions, not really. But always, right after I'm done with them, my the vision gets like
Yes.
fuzzy every single time. No matter what. No matter what, I get lightheaded. I'm like, oh fuck. I gotta...
Yeah.
But no, I like hyperextensions. I don't know.
What about hip thrusts? How often are you doing hip thrusts, man?
I'm throwing them in once a week.
Are you?
Yeah.
Nice. Hey, he's got to look good in them physique shoulders.
See, for me, like right now, I got an ass. You know what I'm saying? But as soon as I start to, really lean down, it's like, where the fuck did my ass go?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure I thought I had more rounder muscle than that. I guess I gotta get back into it. But no,
So it's hip thrust every week for Dustin until he has a big donk.
yeah. I've been
the goal.
trying
That's
to
your
throw it in there for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm doing legs twice a week again. So I was able to separate my legs, which I don't really do that for the prep because I guess legs aren't really.
You don't need legs actually.
No.
If the less legs you have, in my experience, the better you're gonna place.
Yeah.
True, because from what we've seen.
From what we've seen.
But I've got so much weight to add on that I don't think it's really going to matter, So I like to. I don't want to.
So you being in off season, you could talk about this. Like, how hard are you finding this off season right now? Any difficulty at all?
No.
So how are you able to get from like stage ready back to I'm in off season mode and embracing it?
Finding strength in my family. I've really like kind of dialed back and tried to be a better father and try to be a better partner. I'm trying to do more of that, and instead of being a better athlete, which I feel like I am still being a better athlete because I am keeping my meals as strict as I can, having things to look forward to, like my donuts. I'm not so far from freedom to where I can't have, a free meal here and there, which is good. But yeah, the donuts really helped me out.
How many do you eat?
Well, we always go in there.
Like I know you share with your daughter, but like
Yeah, so we'll go in there and I'm like,
She's a beanpole, by the way. She might eat a bite. So all the donuts.
Yeah,
let
that's
her
what I
eat
pretty
you.
much me, we usually get 4. I have her get 1 and she picks whatever one she wants. And then, they'll usually have some weekend specials, right? And if I've had the weekend specials and I really want the weekend specials again, I'm probably gonna buy all the weekend specials. But we get like an apple fritter here and there, toss a little cinnamon toast crunch banger, and then another one. Yeah, I'll have a few bites in the morning with the kids, and then throughout that day, I'm gonna finish the motherfuckers off.
And then do you just like the rest of the day? Like I'm sure you're eating like way more carbs than I would, but are you like, well, I'd probably just had like 400 carbs. Like I'm not gonna eat carbs the rest of the day. Like do you balance it out?
I don't even
or-
think that way. I don't give a
No,
fuck.
no. Okay.
I'm just gonna continue to eat. It is what it is. I had a surplus of calories on this day, and we're gonna push it in the gym the following day.
Exactly. Exactly. See, you're already overthinking. That's the
That's
problem.
how I am.
It's okay.
I
It's a
do it.
good thing. It's
Yeah.
a really good thing.
be conscious of that,
Like
for
a
sure.
really
But-
good question though, right? For everyone listening, probably, and I mean everyone in general. You are now, I mean, I think you will call yourself a veteran into your pro in terms of like your off season. But how does now compared to like first show, first off season? Do you think there was like differences?
Absolutely, because there was the unknown, right?
Right.
You know, so like you're talking about the more and more that you go into it, the more of you can find the normal
Yep.
within what you are doing.
Yeah.
And so for me, my first time, yeah, dude, I went off the fucking deep end. But at the same time, I knew that I had a couple competitions that I was thinking about doing. So, you know, I went off the deep end a few days and then I was right back to it on Monday. But leading up to that competition, I'm like, fuck, I had no support. I didn't have anybody that really did competitions that were around me. So, you know, when I was on Instagram or whatever, and then some other people would follow me that were, you know, like-minded individuals who were competitors who have competed before, I would reach out to them, be like, hey man, I am absolutely hungry as
Yeah.
fuck. Like
I'm dying.
I can't
Yeah.
stop like looking in the cabinet at these snacks. And then I would just shut it and be like, yeah, you know what? I'm just thirsty. I just need water. I think that's what it is. That's probably it. But you know, from then till now, yeah, I'm way more structured in understanding what the off season looks like and how I can utilize it so that I can be better for the following season. Because now I know that there's going to be follow-on seasons. Essentially, when you go to your first competition, you don't know what the hell you're going to do with this competition. You can
Right.
do one competition, not like it anymore, and then freaking completely fall off. Or that was cool.
Yep.
I checked that off the bucket list. Let's move on. You know, you don't really know, but.
Yeah.
You know, I've always been an athlete. I've always been somebody who would want to stay in shape. And then, you know, from the moment that I've found the gym, you know, it pretty much saved my life. So, you know, I don't want to
Yeah.
get away from it. So now it's just a part of my life, and it's just something that I understand is a necessary thing to happen in order for me to be better on the next time. That's all it is.
Yeah, I'm excited to see when he like calls it, and he's like, you know, I'm gonna be a full-time dad and coach.
Yeah.
You know, I'm excited because it's like pushing through a little whirlwind. You know,
Yeah.
because I'm at the point now where I'm complete. Obviously, I decided never to compete again, in my opinion. And maybe someday, possibly, but probably not.
Yeah.
And like, it's so hard, man. It's weird. Like my why, I don't have a fucking why. But I go every fucking day, no matter what. Like pretty much, I always say this in the podcast, but I've never missed more than 2 days consecutively since I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
And I went out of town. Where did I go? I went to Jacqueline's show. No, I think it was Pittsburgh, and I got back. I went to the gym that night for 30 minutes just so I wouldn't mess that up, right?
Oh,
and that's how serious I am. But
Yeah.
again, man, like I'm in the gym and I'm like, what the fuck am I here for? And I'm serious, guys. I'm going through this now. This is fucking coach because I'm so busy and I have so many different things. So coming from a completely different side of things, like, you know, me, when I decided not to compete anymore, that it's hard. And I'm still trying to find my why.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't know what like is going to motivate me, like boxing. I don't fucking know, something. But like, I mean, I know I look good, but that's why, you know, I'm getting smaller. You know, I don't know how to feel about that. You know, I'm getting
Just
small.
eat.
It all
I can't
comes
eat. I'm
back to
student.
the why.
I
It all
know.
comes back to that why.
Yeah, I got to
you
find out
know?
why, I guess. But so since we have you here, what makes a champion?
Oh, that is such a great question. What makes a champion? Someone who understands and knows that you're going to fall. You're going to fall on your face, and you know how to learn. You know how to take the losses, like we were saying, and continue to learn, to continue to understand yourself better, understand what you want to do, be in alignment with your values, and never give up. Just have such a strong fuel within you that it's your North Star. And that if you're in alignment with your North Star, you are going to be a champion.
Yeah. Why do people have different mindsets? Like, so I actually respect everyone at this table. I know we can all follow the fucking plan for sure, but there's a lot of people that I just know that I'm not saying they're unsavable. It's not that like, but there's a different, people are born with different fucking mindsets. That's why you see
Yeah, for
back in the
sure.
day, you know, 300 movies, you always got that one big ass barbarian running around, chop people's heads off and everyone else is running,
Yeah.
you know? So like, do you feel like do you think you're just born with like a different kind of tenacity and a different kind of like mindset and willpower? Because I feel like I am. I feel like I am. I feel like he is. I feel like we have this drive to just want to win and want to slaughter people. Like obviously you talk to a lot of people. So
I love
how do you do you think that's true? Or do you think anyone could be that if they work hard?
Well, that's a multifaceted question. So the thing that really comes to my mind, I mean, mindsets, there are a couple of different mindsets, and people aren't born with our mindsets. It's not something that we come out of the womb with, right? So our mindset and the thoughts, the feelings, the beliefs, the stories, everything that is up here, it always comes down to there's genetic factors, there is environmental factors, and then there's psychological factors, right? And this is obviously where a lot of therapy work comes in. And like you were talking, you're like, all right, cool. Like I know, ready to slaughter, ready to go, ready to be determined. And there are other people out there that's not their go-to, right? Their go-to is I fell down, I'm going to stay down, I'm going to self-sabotage. So, from the clinical perspective, yeah, their thoughts are not helping them and supporting them. But when you go, so your mindset is actually like a really big iceberg, right? And like at the top of the iceberg, it's your actions and your reactions. And then underneath that, it's your feelings. Underneath that, it's your thoughts. Underneath that, it's values, what you value in life, which then correlates to your roles, who like you were talking about. And then underneath all of that, it's your belief system. So people who typically fall under self-sabotaging behaviors, it's a belief. And there's negative core beliefs such as I'm not worth it, or I'm not worthy, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not whatever X that might be. And typically your belief system, it's a long way of saying it, but is running subconsciously. So people don't run around, there are people with very low self-confidence and low self-esteem that say, oh, I'm not worthy of love, I'm not worthy of this, right? But especially within bodybuilding, if you don't believe that you can be great, and you don't believe that you can be a champion, and you don't believe that you can be determined, that's a negative core belief that until, again, this is what I was saying before, like until you tackle that, it's not going to change, and your actions aren't going to change.
Yeah. Do you think you're just born that way? Do you think you're just obviously, No, but that's what I'm saying. Okay, so listen. Okay, I'm gonna be fucking honest.
Yeah.
Listen, I have had every excuse in the book. I didn't really have the best fucking childhood. I don't really, say
That's a very big determining factor.
I
towards
didn't
that.
have the best
Neither
childhood,
did I.
but it was the way I didn't care. I didn't give a fuck that I slept in a fucking tent for since when I was 3 years old for 9 months, living in a fucking tent. I didn't care. There's so many different things. I don't want to talk about everything, but there's so many different things that gave me every excuse to be a piece of shit, every excuse not to do it, every excuse to be a loser mentality. And for some reason, I was given to me that I don't have that mentality. So the point I'm trying to make is I personally believe that you're born either, you're born to be a little bitch, or you're born to be like the fucking motherfucker out there running around getting the afterlife. Like, and I don't know, how do we get these people to hear? So how do we do that?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
So on a really philosophical level, there are modalities within therapy, right, that really do talk about what you feel when you are in the womb. And I won't go too much into it because there's a lot of science behind it, but the experiences that a mother is going through and how their body reacts does play a really large role when you are in the female body. So that's one thing for sure.
It's the scientific side of things.
Yeah. But when you are even a really small child, it all comes back to whatever experience that you had gone through, whether it was any form of abuse, whether it was even just like emotional neglect, whether it was sleeping in a tent because you didn't have a home, whatever experience it was at a very, very young age. And these are things that typically we don't remember, and we can through therapy. You create a story about who you are. You create a story about who you're going to be. Like literally when you are 1 or 2 years old, and those things are stored within your mind subconsciously. As you get older, your mind is searching. Your mind really only wants to confirm beliefs. So if you, at whatever age, right, whatever thing you were sleeping in a tent, you had decided, I'm going to be a motherfucker who gets, I'm never going to be in this position. Like I will be successful, right? Like maybe that was a story, or, I will make it, right? Like I will have some home and provide, whatever that story was. Again, like you're very, very small. You're going to search throughout the rest of your life. Well, I'll say it that way. You're going to search for a very long time, confirming that story and belief that you embedded into your mind. So that is why, yeah, you could have been 6 months old. You know, it could literally go back to, this is why like sleep studies and having the baby cry and all these things is like my mind can explode, because it really does. We create stories at a very, very, very young age, and they're hard. They are hard. So think about it. Like I work with a lot of females, but typically within like the 30 range, 30 to 40. And like I always say to people, these are stories and beliefs and patterns that have been running for probably 20, 30 years. It's not going to change overnight. You're not just going to change it overnight. Can you? You can. You absolutely can. It takes a lot of healing,
Yep.
and it takes a lot of moving in different directions.
Yeah. I mean, what do you got on that topic?
I mean, would I say that you're born with it? I don't know. I think it has to do with like upbringing. You know what I mean? So, it has to do with how you were raised, how, your environment, like you're saying, people that you had around you, the talks that, like my mom, I mean, we weren't the most well off, you might have slept in a tent. I slept in a hotel for fucking years, you know what I mean?
Me too.
You know what I'm saying? So like, my family was very, very, very competitive. Wherever I went, I always want to be the best. I just had that mentality. When mom would tell me at a young age, you're special. She would always say that you're very special. She would always put that in my head. So I thank her for that, because that gave me a superpower. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what it is, what my situation is. I can always look at the bright side of things, So
See, I'm just gonna like that. That was exactly what I was describing. So if we were in therapy, I would take you back into those moments and
Right.
really anchor into, everything that you gathered from those, because it's changed your life. It
sure.
shapes who you are.
most definitely. And so it's just little things like that, little aspects like she's talking about. So.
Yeah, because I see too many people, man, especially, and I always try back to bodybuilding. I try to, is like they'll let like that failure mentality just like consume them. Like I'm not good enough. I don't look good enough. I just can't do it. Then you get the people who are like, no, I can do it. And I will do it. And this is, I'm going to find a way no matter what happens. Like there is no excuse. Like there's people still like complaining that, their dad wasn't around when they were kids. Like, bitch, I didn't have a dad really much either. Like,
father, fuck.
come on. Like, and like, I didn't obsess over that. People obsess with that to make excuses for themselves to stay where the fuck they're at,
I agree.
And it's like, what do you got on this?
Victim mindset.
I
Victim
mean, I grew
mindsets.
up with a broken family too, like
Yeah.
divorced parents at a very young age. Like I went through that whole like every other weekend thing. So
Same.
there's so much like just emotional trauma there. But yeah, I don't know. I think at some point you have to look at those things and, even though it influenced you, you have to look at it and say, like, I'm not going to let it define who I am. Like, even if, like, I mean, like, I didn't have the best relationship with my dad growing up, so it affected me in different ways. But I think he put a lot of, like, I don't know, like, doubt on myself. Like, I wasn't good enough and all that. So it could have played a role into being like, well, I want to look the best I can. Like, I don't know. So some stuff you don't realize how it affects you either until later on.
But I feel like you were a disciplined athlete at least. Like
Yeah.
you didn't let that like mindset, I think, change your direction. Obviously, you're pretty successful, and you have it together for sure. A lot of people don't, man, and it's sad to see, because I see so many people, man, that let little things like that just destroy everything. And I see so many people, like, again, this one guy, really off bodybuilding topic here, but whatever, it's okay. I've seen this guy. His name was Miguel. Great kid. Wow, he could have been something crazy, bodybuilder, right?
Yeah.
He could have been a coach, could have been amazing. And he went over to he got hurt by somebody, right? And then he went right off the deep end. So much drugs where like I couldn't even recognize this kid anymore.
Oh.
And I remember I seen him like 5 years later, and I was like, there's no way this is the same kid. Like he was one of my like best friends, and it was just he's just gone. I mean, it's done.
Yeah.
It's done. So it's like I would like to catch people before they do that, right? And I think bodybuilding honestly helps a little bit too. Just having some kind of direction to fucking go. Like
Yeah.
whether you lose or not, dude, you're gonna have the best body you've ever had.
Yeah.
And I think it's there's definitely something to be said about that.
Well, I mean, we always say, it is an individual sport, 100%, but it's great to have a team to support you around that. But, again, it being individual, it's you against you no matter what, because when you're on that stage, it's you versus the world.
Absolutely.
And so if you can continue to tap into that,
Yeah.
you can be great.
Yeah.
For you, were you entitled as a kid? Were you given everything?
No.
You know what I mean? Exactly. You had to earn shit, right?
Yeah.
Were you?
Bitch, I didn't have it.
Exactly, right? I wasn't. No, I was never entitled. That's the difference. Like a lot of people who you would see who are more entitled and who had, I mean, I'm not saying that having both parents is going to be a negative effect on your bodybuilding career, but essentially,
Yeah, what are we getting at here, Nelson?
but
should we
essentially,
leave our parents?
if you are given everything that you know in life, you're not going to have that fucking dog in you,
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
That's true.
I mean, like what you were saying, you were like, you have to make the decision that I don't want to be in that victim mindset,
Yes,
right? And like,
exactly.
you can't, whether it is bodybuilding, relationships, you know, a lot of times when people want to become a parent, they're like, oh, I don't want to be like this anymore because I don't want to pass it on, right? But
Yeah.
to bring it back, I mean, to face that, to make the decision of I don't want to be like that anymore, I want to get out of that victim mindset, you have to be self-aware.
Yes.
It's not just going to come to you like, oh, like, right, like, and bodybuilding is a direct freaking line to becoming self-aware.
for sure.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. And I can thank my mom for that because out of everyone, like she's always been like the healthiest one. Like she always went to the gym. So at a young age, I saw her going to the gym. I started going to the gym at like freshman year, like
Yeah.
doing like classes with her,
For
like
sure.
doing Pilates in the living room. Like
Yeah.
I took dance classes. Like
On
I
the
was always
strong.
active. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for her, I mean, I don't know, but she definitely like made me want to stay healthy. And then like a lot of other people in our family are not, and they're very out of shape.
Yep.
So
I've had my uncle, like a couple uncles pass away. You know, one of my uncles just passed away. He was diabetic, and you know, he's still doing the same fucking shit, partying, you know, doing blow, all that fucking shit. And he came home and he didn't wake up.
Yep.
You know, and it hurts because you know I love that man. He was a good dude, and he was an inspiration to a lot of our family. But then you again have to be self aware, and you got to see everybody else. And I'm like, man, all my cousins still doing the same ass shit. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? You're I don't know, man.
I mean, if there was just, if we could have got him into bodybuilding before, I think that would have helped. You know what I'm saying? But people got to take that leap, man. I'm working with this kid right now. He's a year sober 2 weeks ago. He's been working with me for a year now. And he came to me, he's like, dude, I got to stay clean. Help me get on plan. And now we're a year in, and he texts me all the time, do 1 year sober, 8 months sober. He kept texting me all year long. And bodybuilding literally was his base. So I feel like for anyone out there struggling with addiction or anything like that, you can always fucking change your stars. You just got to start. And I think bodybuilding is the best thing because I've experienced this throughout my life. I was a really small kid, bullied a lot, whatever. As I was growing up, second I got some muscle, wow, people started looking at me differently. I love in the room, bitch. I demand respect. You see me? I
absolutely.
demand respect. Don't fucking play. Like that's my mindset now. Like when I shake your hand, I mean business. Like look, we're big as shit. You know how much discipline it takes to be this big?
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm being honest. Like so that mentality, like as I got into bodybuilding and started,
1000%.
dude, I was a different animal.
1000%.
I think it's so from the woman's side. I think it's like, do you feel any of that? Like the better your body gets?
Oh my God, 100%.
Confidence.
I know for me, a lot. Again, I started bodybuilding, I think when I was 24, so mid 20s, but I had graduated, I was like the first one, double masters, all these things. So I had a bit of confidence, but in full like transparency and vulnerability, I was not happy with my body. I didn't like the way that I looked. And going into bodybuilding and falling in love with what I saw in the mirror. I mean, it was always like for me, I had this thing within me, right? The stories that I created was like, I am going to be a cycle breaker, right? I am going to be successful. I'm going to do these big things. I don't know how. And I think education was such a big part of that. But then I had like all these degrees and I had all these things, but like, I couldn't walk in with that full confidence, right? And it was like this fire was like inside of me and I couldn't get it from the inside to come out. And once I started bodybuilding and the dedication and determination and everything, you're so damn proud of yourself. You really, really are. And I remember how much that translated into every single aspect. Again, it was like dating life. I was like, oh yeah,
Bitch, I almost
here
suck.
I fucking am, And then that was when I was doing a lot of consulting work and, made like good money. It was the year that I won an overall, the year that I got a promotion that like 2x'd my income. It was like the promotion that I had been working my ass off building my resume for. Because I freaking went in there and like I was a pretty good interviewer, but I was like, I know my worth. I know it all. I know I deserve this. And again, it was like the internal was able to come out. So yeah.
100%. I mean, that's it. And I think everyone experiences that the entire time of bodybuilding. You'll continuously get more successful. You'll be more confident in business meetings. And it just, bodybuilding is such a beautiful thing. And it goes so much beyond just the stage and the lights and the overall wins. It goes beyond that, right? It balances out your entire life, and everyone needs to be in fitness. But I think we're at that time where we have to, got to call it, guys. You know?
Yeah.
This was a good one. I mean, it went over the time. You know, this was a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you guys both for coming on. Literally,
Me.
I love both you guys. You know, you guys are going to be with me for a while. Lauren, we're 4 years now, so you know we're going to keep going. But what do you got to say, man?
Again, thank you, ladies, for coming on here. It was very
you.
insightful. I'm hoping that you guys learned a lot here. From being the post-show blues to diving into the mindset of what a champion would be, and how that comes about, and how bodybuilding can branch out to a lot of other aspects in your life. So, I mean, greatly appreciate that. But y'all, episode 20, please like, follow, subscribe. Do us a favor here, Love you guys to death. Let's get it.
Hell yeah.